Our Infernal Guard with Fireglaives ending in patch 6.1.2. I'm going to say this early so that everyone understands. Fireglaives do less damage than Blunderbusses. For all the nice, wonderful things I'm about to say about Fireglaives, the unit will not outdamage a Blunderbuss unit under the conditions where a Blunderbuss will thrive, which is firing at an engaged target, 0 to 50 meters away. Everything else will show the Fireglaives to be better, but there are times and situations where more damage is literally the only thing you care about, so having one Blunderbuss to deal with those things is not a bad plan. For the rest, stay tuned. Recruit for 1200 gold and therefore 300 upkeep, though that formula sometimes gets weird from balance changes. On Ultra, this gets you 80 edgy Dwarfs, as in not 100, with 6,800 health between them. So not only are the entities down, health per entity is slightly down. Armor is 100, no shields, which is very important, and fire resistance of 25%. Leadership begins at 75, unusually high for a missile unit. Speed 26 and charge speed 36 are just as miserable as usual. Melee attack begins at 30 and is flaming. Attack interval is the bog standard 4 and there is no melee splash damage. Melee defense begins at 42. While not the 56 of the regular shielded unit, this is a full 10 points more than a starting Empire Swordsman. Weapon strength 34 is split base 9 and armor piercing 25, as in the Fireglaives do armor piercing in melee, which is not something you see much. Streltsy do it. Streltsy are awesome. There is a small bonus versus large of 5, but every point is welcome when you have knights trying to poke you in the eye. Charge bonus is 8 and mass is the expected 250. For ranged, ammunition begins at 30. Range of 145 is on par with Empire handgunners and is a fair bit longer than the Blunderbuss range. Missile damage is nominally 33 and flaming attack, with each Jalapeno bullet doing 6 base and 24 armor piercing damage. There is only 1 bullet per entity per volley with a musket style trajectory. Reload time of 9 default is shockingly low. Total accuracy of 20 at rank 0 is the game standard. Calibration area of 100 meters is decent and expected. Calibration area of 1.7 meters means that within those 100 meters, and modified further by accuracy, these are pretty tight groupings of shots overall. There is no multi-target penetration. The unit can hide in forest, uses the contempt mechanic, and has charge defense versus large, something Blunderbusses only had for about 5 seconds after the faction launched. So while not your ideal situation, those charging knights hitting braced Fireglaives will see their charge bonus disappear as if Houdini himself rose from the grave. As a necromancer. In the red line skills, 3 pips of firing drills will grant ammunition plus 20% and missile strength 12%. At rank 7, Bloody Bombardment grants missile strength plus 12% again, 10% reload time reduction, and 15% missile resistance, which is Hashut sent for a shieldless unit, armor notwithstanding. In the tech tree, a pretty early tech called Hollow Rounds adds plus 8% missile strength and 6% reload time reduction. All of the other support here is indirect. The Hellforge provides upgrades like the Blunderbusses. Extra powder bag providing the 30% damage bonus if over 80% ammo is as must-have as frenzy on the melee units. Extra reload helps you squeeze 1 more shot at 30% damage, but that's it. Enabling magical attacks for the Fireglaives with their increased range has its purpose. Stock and even more to the point Vanguard deployment are nice things to be able to use, and evil players will prosper with them, but it's a slow unit. You need to be sure of where you're placing them. Suppressive fire, I mentioned this in the Blunderbuss video, but 30% slow on enemy units at 145 range out is a lot more impactful than starting at 90 range, so you get more out of the Fireglaives doing this. Spell resistance 25% is good on defense, and reload time reduction and extra 10% might be overkill, but in endgame you have extra slots and lots of armaments, so you do it anyway and laugh villainously while doing so, ha ha ha. So how do we use the Infernal Guard with Fireglaives? Here's the thing. There's a lot of uses that become possible that aren't necessarily uses you'd prefer. Yes, you can position them to stop Chaos Trolls from breaching your lines, but then you have to fight Chaos Trolls in melee. Is that ideal? No! But you can. So your real homework is working out how Fireglaives can cover your weaknesses while still being able to mow down enemy forces. I mentioned having a single Blunderbuss unit to do Blunderbuss things can still be really nice. For this reworked video series, I haven't gotten deep into Kodai yet, but a key tech for them makes them inflict flammable on enemy forces, as does the fat little pistol for the sorcerer. That's 20% free damage for Fireglaives, and barring a Flaming Sword of Ruin, that's not an interaction Blunderbusses can take advantage of, though just saying that would be an extremely evil trick to melt down an elite unit. Point being, the strength of the Fireglaives is that the unit is a lot tougher in melee and in resisting being bowled over, and in the consistency and pace of its fire. 9 seconds reload time as a starting point is way ahead of most competition. Basic handgunners are 13 seconds stock. So, barring synergies that can require more complex interactions, the Blunderbusses are superior when your problem needs to be solved in 15 seconds flat, but the Fireglaives are superior for sorting out a broad range of problems across a longer battle, and so earn their place as a unit that shines later in the campaign or in long battles as long as they can keep finding lines of sight. Just be careful with fire-at-will bugs and whatnot. Take care, and have fun setting the world on fire, with nothing but an incendiary rifle and the power of your belief.